Our next guest is an internationally recognized humanitarian, culinary innovator, educator, and has been named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people. Not just once, but twice. His nonprofit called World Central Kitchen has provided more than 250 million fresh meals in response to disasters around the globe, from the earthquake in Turkey and Syria to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Please welcome to the South by Southwest studio, Chef José Andrés.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Chef, thank you so much for joining us. You have fans that have come. Usually, I told you before that we have fans here. They never come by for anyone. They came for you. We've had celebrities. We had Ewan McGregor here. We've had stars and musicians, but they have come for you because of the work that you're doing to feed people around the world who are in just terrible situations. This is the first question I have. How do we make you irrelevant? Why are you, what I mean by that is, why are you a chef who should be feeding people, who should be opening restaurants, who should be relaxing with his family? Why are you going around the world, Turkey, Syria, Ukraine, doing the work of governments? Why are you feeding millions of people?
Well, listen, number one, I am not the one doing it. It's an army of people doing it. Happens that for many reasons. Obviously, I was a founder, and I guess I go to some of those, and for whatever reason, I'm at the front of the news, probably more than I even want. But I go because I've seen, number one, I think cooks like me, we have the talent, not only to cook for the few, but to cook for the many. And I think we should not waste talents. Because if we all use our talents to the maximum of the possibilities, I do believe we will all feel better with ourselves. Our communities will be better. The world will be better. It's people out there that need the help of others. So if you can help, why wouldn't you help? And that's the question I ask myself every day. Obviously, when emergencies happen and the big ones happen, I have this place called World Central Kitchen that I can join as one more volunteer. Sometimes I may lead from the front, other times I may be more a leader from the back. That means that it's great people that they know what to do, they know how to adapt, and that's why we are able to arrive to Turkey. And within hours of the earthquake, we start feeding people in a very disorganized way. You will not think like World Central Kitchen is a good, organized NGO if you see how we start. We start in very strange ways. Maybe we stop in a food truck and we tell the guy, hey, can you join us? Can we hire you? Can you partner with us? Like that, in the middle of the street, as we are coming out of the plane. And in that moment, we start feeding. You see, we use any resources we have just to start feeding. So why I do it? Because it's a lot of young people that are joining us, people with experience, people with not so much experience, but that experience is gained with boots on the ground. So every time any member that is been with World Central Kitchen, including myself, we are there. In a way, we are helping the new people joining us to become better in what we do, which is in catastrophes, making sure that we organize the chaos.
I appreciate the humility in which you're saying that you're just a foot soldier in this growing halal army of chefs in World Central Kitchen. But the truth is that not only are the face, but you've put the money behind it. Last year we had Ron Howard and his team that made the movie We Feed People. And in the movie we saw that you took out your credit card and you're like, oh, well, I don't have funding from anyone, so I'll do it. So you've risked a lot, not just your time, not just your health, not just being away from your family, but also your money. And so that first question that I asked you, how do we make you relevant, was a compliment. But the same question I asked Ron and I think Nate, your CEO, was, I need you to not exist because I need governments and other communities to step up and do what you're doing.
But there's no, number one, I don't keep putting my credit card. That was a big situation. Maria in Puerto Rico was a catastrophe that was was in front of us, and we were very slow responding, and we kind of helped a little bit. We only reached 120, 150.
But those are 120 people who got
1,000
a meal.
meals a day. We reached over 4 million meals, and that was an important moment, because in a way we were coming from Houston too. That was another hurricane. So in a way that was a very iconic moment for World Central Kitchen, because even we already had experiences feeding after earthquakes and hurricanes in Haiti and other places. I think Maria was really the moment that is like, okay, or we do it, or
no one's going to do it.
Nobody's going to do it. So what we do is not so much to criticize the shortfall sometimes of government, but is the realization that sometimes when something major happens, the government itself needs all the help from their citizens. I think we are living in a moment that we are finger pointing at everybody for our problems. We never look ourselves in the mirror. And we are also expecting sometimes everybody to do the things for us. I think we need to change a little bit. Obviously, if we have a government and we pay taxes, you can expect a lot of things from the government to provide to their citizens. But also it's going to be moments that even the best structure of a government will not allow something to happen quick and effective in an emergency. And that's why I believe it's necessary that actually organizations, small but focused, like World Central Kitchen, exist to help our government in chaos, so the government can even do better. What we need to learn is how to work alongside each other a little bit better, because then we can be even far away more productive. But for now, I do believe World Central Kitchen is the right organization. And I always tell the mayors and I tell the governors or the presidents of the countries we go, you need to see World Central Kitchen as your organization, because we are here to help you. And we are here to do what you are not able to see, or you don't know how to do, how to solve that particular problem. So I do believe we need to change the interaction of citizens with our government, because our government is always going to be the reflection of us.
Mm-hmm. And you know, maybe we have to change the perception of citizens when it comes to you as well. And what I mean by that is, you said outsource, and many people say, who am I? I'm nobody. I'm not a chef. Oh, José Andrés is doing, he's a superhero. Look at him, let's put a cape behind him. And instead, they sit in the back and they outsource. And I think what you're trying to say is, if I can do this, you can do this, I'm inviting you. Anyone can do this.
I know in many situations that even team members say, yeah, but you arrive one place and you get helicopters or permission to take off because you are José Andrés. And I love sometimes to prove them wrong, like, this person I used convince to let us take off in the middle of a hurricane in Bahamas. They didn't have a clue who José Andrés was. I was just that guy that was persistent enough to convince one guy that if you let me take off, we will feed the people. He didn't know if I'm a chef or not, if I have TV shows or not, or whatever. I was just one guy trying to open a door of possibilities. Because we got more than 6 helicopters, 2 seaplanes, 1 boat with 2 helipads, because we had to refuel in total absence of any functioning airport with fuel. And this allowed us to deliver 80,000 meals a day in Bahamas. Because we did that, and we had the air support, we were able to do almost 50 medical evacuations. Because every trip in with food meant that we were coming out and we could be taking care of people. Hospitals will be asking, can you take care of moving people out? Sure, tell me. So you see, by being there, all of a sudden, you're able to do even more than what your mission is. You don't only do food and water. You don't only show up every day and listen to the people. Or you are able to do videos in islands that the families are sending a message, we are alive, and in Green Turtle, nobody has died. You know what it is to put that video in the web? So all of a sudden, it's the first news they hear from their family members. By being quick, being fast, and being there next to the people, allows you even to do more than what your mission is. Allows you to rescue people, allows you to bring medicines, allows you to send messages of hope. That's why it's important that we are there quick and fast.
Just doing what you do, it's a message of hope, it's a story of hope, and it's survival. People are living. And I'm glad you mentioned Turkey, because I believe not enough people are talking about it. The earthquakes were devastating in Turkey and Syria, and more than 50,000 people. Can you tell us what's been happening on the ground and how you have been serving and feeding the people?
Yeah. Well, we landed less than 20 hours after the earthquake, and we were feeding in 21 hours. The situation there was catastrophic. Probably we all remember the earthquake of Port-au-Prince. Hundreds of thousands died, total destruction, because people were living in the side of mountains, in the hills, and the constructions were very bad, because these are people that were very poor, and when the earthquake shook the mountains, the entire mountains kind of collapsed down, and that's why so many people died. But while the destruction was huge, and even worse, the number of lives, for providing relief, America, the international community, the area of damage was fairly narrow, fairly small around Port-au-Prince. So you could argue that the United States that sent very quick aid, and others, everybody had an area of concentration. These we're talking about 500, 600, 700 kilometers wide by 500, 600 kilometers.
2 countries.
We're talking about 10, 11 major cities. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of other little towns. We're talking about bridges that broke and roads that collapsed. We're talking about thousands of buildings that were collapsing. Not only on the first earthquake, 7.8, second earthquake, 7.4, but on the first aftershock. There was a 6.4 aftershock. In that aftershock was cities that 100, 200, 500 buildings just collapse in the aftershock. Whoever sees buildings collapse in aftershocks? Almost never. So this was like 10, 20 Port-au-Prince earthquakes at once. And that's why the search and rescue teams, many came. I was with 2 of them in my plane. I was coming from Madrid. And they said, it's not enough search and rescue teams in Europe or in the world to take care of every single building as quick as we should. It's not enough dogs. So everybody did what they could in the early hours. What's the situation now? Well, now...
And lives were saved. I want to mention that. Because
hundreds of lives.
The videos that have come out with hope, you show people who were buried under the rubble.
Hundreds of
2 days later, they were alive.
Dogs. Weeks later, they were saving people, which is something strange. Like, I don't remember now, but I think close to usually 5, 6 days is the maximum that they will think somebody can live under the rubble. But they were taking people like 10, 12 days later. Horses and animals, everybody, even every life matters. So when a horse or a dog was saved, in a way, people were celebrating a life.
It's a life.
So it was beyond people. Everybody was very happy anytime rescuing anybody. But so everything has, we moved as quick as we could. I did myself 2 tours around the entire earthquake. We went from the very south all the way to the very now, from Hatay all the way to Elbistan, up in the mountains. And very quickly we said 12 kitchens at World Central Kitchen. But I think this was my phone. That was my pin, so please, I'm sorry. In Spain, we have to pay a ham when this happens.
That's okay.
And then we did 12 World Central kitchens. We had 6 food trucks. Then we had 60, 70 restaurant partners and caterings. And that's why we were able to reach 350, 400,000 meals very quickly. Syria, we were a little bit slower in answering, but within days we were also partnering with local NGOs in the border in Turkey with Syria and inside Syria. So we began coming into Syria to all those places that they were already devastated because of the war.
And
devastated because every government, every president of every country must have a national security food advisor. Food needs to have its own people with experience and expertise. Food is more than agriculture. Food is transportation. Food is immigration. Food is
National security.
Is national security. Food is defense. Food is job creation, economy. Food is so many things that right now, if we are not careful, in the year 2023, maybe 2024, we're going to see one of the biggest mass migrations in the history of humanity, where not millions, but tens of millions will leave their homes, will leave their lands because they have no food to feed their children. If we don't start taking food seriously, we may not have enough food one day soon enough to feed planet Earth, and then we will have a real problem in our hands. So what I'm asking is that countries take more seriously what food means to humans. The most important energy on planet Earth is not the fuel that we put in our cars, but is the food that we feed ourselves, our families, and our souls. Food is, in essence, the DNA of who we are. Food must be given a priority in all the policies of every single country, in America and Europe and every other country. The day we do that, we can build a better tomorrow, because then we can end hunger, we can end poverty, we can produce food without, in the process, contaminating planet Earth. We have enough resources, and we have the expertise how to use them for the betterment of humanity itself. But food needs to be at the center of the table when we talk about politics.
If USA creates a food czar, would you, sir, sign up and be the first food czar?
I'm a better guy with boots on the ground, but yes, I will be one guy you be telling that food czar. This is the very simple things that we can do today to change the world.
So you'd be the senior advisor?
Food deserts in America, they shouldn't be existing. It's so simple to put an end to food deserts. Every single child should be having access to breakfast and lunch. Should not be one person, one family that don't have access to fresh fruit. Every single school must have kitchens that we can cook from scratch. Every single kitchen must be buying locally, so the local rural communities that they are always poor, all of a sudden become richer. We can be ending these mass migrations by making sure that we don't throw money at the problem, but invest in solutions. If we keep giving food free to poor countries, instead of giving them the know-how in how to produce that food, those countries will always be poor, because they're waiting for our pity. They don't want our pity, they want our respect. You see, until we don't take food seriously, we will have problems that food creates, even we don't realize. Let's make sure that the war in Ukraine ends, that the war in Syria ends, that countries like Venezuela can feed their citizens when it's a country that used to export food, and now they have to import food. Let's make sure that food once and for all becomes a true priority. And then we announce no child in the world forever again will be hungry, where all the governments will put the resources to make it happen. All of a sudden, the world will be a much better place.
Amen. Mic drop. Thank you, Chef. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for feeding people. Thank you for being a hero. And thank you for giving us a model.
Good coffee.
And thank you for promoting South by Southwest and the coffee. Coming up next, we will be sitting down with the queen of true crime podcasting, Ashley Flowers. And you can see our complete schedule of upcoming studio interviews on our website at sxsw.com/studio. And these interviews are live streaming during the event on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/sxsw. I'm your host, Wajahat Ali, drinking delicious coffee with Chef Jose. Thanks all for watching.